Welcome, everybody. It is Friday Night Comics. I'm happy you're all here. Um, boom, boom. That's what we had for July 4th, but it's so celebratory and pretty. We keep it up. Okay, this is the We Believe in Comics Friday Night Workshops at the Sequential Artists Workshop. SAW is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We have online courses at sawcomics.org. If you haven't checked them out, we hope that you will. Especially, we're really excited for our certificate program, which starts a little after Labor Day. There's still time to sign up. It is our biggest, our most beautiful. Started to sound like that a-hole. I need better adjectives. It is a really deep, transformative program designed to get you um, really fluent in comics and really confident in comics. Whew. Try not to use those adjectives. I feel like such a jerk. Anyway, that is the online comics program. I'll mention that in another slide or two. Next week, we have Rebecca Burke. Speaking of our a-hole government, Rebecca is the woman who was detained for months on in America, this place. So we're really honored that she's going to come talk to us and give us a workshop. Comics is Mindfulness. That's next Friday. This Friday, you get me. Anyway, if you want to find out more about the year-long program, you can sign up for one of the free hour-long live interactive things we're doing. And I'm doing one, I think, on Monday the 11th. And I try and do one a week until we start right after Labor Day. So take a look at sawcomics.org. It's the top bar right over there. Thank you if you donated. That really means a lot. It keeps these events free. It pays the instructors, not myself though tonight. I'm the instructor. But it helps us give scholarships. I just had this long conversation with Meg about all the scholarships we're negotiating this year. And you know, despite less funding, sometimes we don't really let up in trying to help people access access this material. So we'll get started. No, please no inappropriate speech or imagery, no trolling or hate speech. Keep it PG-13 when we do the sharing. Thank you. You can share on Friday night on social media with the hashtag Friday Night Comics, and you can tag Saw at Comics Workshop. I'm at Hutch Owen. I haven't been on Instagram in ages. I sometimes go and I see messages and I'm like, okay, I guess I could check those, but I'll try for this week. I will be there. Um, Also, I have a book coming out on Tuesday. So I should also do that. I'll tell you about that in a moment. You can also find us at members.sawcomics.org. We'll keep this at 90 minutes to respect everybody's time. So let's watch out for that. There's lots of ways to share. We do weekly PDFs. This one I think will be really great. You can find them at seesawcomics.org. Last a couple weeks ago, it looked like this. It was really fun. That was the graphic medicine one. All right, let's enjoy. This is my workshop, Rites of Passage. Um, what does that mean? Well, we'll get into it. Stop share. All right, welcome everybody. Um, yeah, it's weird. I don't have a copy of the new printing of my book. So my memoir, um, well, I'll share my screen really fast and show you all what I'm talking about. Um, I'll act like, um, hang on a second. Thank you. Okay. So, um, those of you may know that I did this memoir. It came out in 2016. It's been out of print for about a year. And Liz Story and the people at Street Noise Books are publishing it. It's coming out Tuesday. So that is one reason I'm doing this event tonight, is to sort of give you all a reminder of that. You can order it now. You can order it from this website, which is Street Noise Press. You should be able to go to bookshop.org or Amazon or whatever you prefer and find it there. And I'm really happy that Liz is putting this back in print. So voila. Once again, I'll stop sharing. Okay, so thanks, Darlene, for the bookshop.org link. So okay, I'm the I'm the guest host, so I'm not gonna like banter with the host. I am the host. So we're gonna get started. We're doing rites of passage. What does that mean? Let me share my screen one last time. Today, I will say that I'm hoping for a lot of interaction in the chat. Like, and I'll whenever is great, but I'll let you know particularly when I'm looking for. But I'm throwing some ideas out there, and I'm hoping that you'll engage with them and actually come up with other ones. So let me see. Can you see that it's orange? It says rites of passage. Maybe uh, Michael just shoot me a yes or something. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Anyway, all right. This is so exciting. I rarely do this. I don't know how to do it. I feel like I do it like twice a year or something. So I've been thinking a lot about what it is we do as cartoonists and artists here at SAW or anywhere. And we're not just, I feel like in a lot of times we're not just telling our stories. I actually think we are. And a lot of us have an idea of what a rite of passage is, and we're not, a lot of times we're not just telling the story of a rite of passage. I think sometimes in the act of drawing, we're actually going through a rite of passage, and that's sort of what I want to talk to you about tonight. And this is when I want you to chime in about the chat in the chat. If my list is going to be incomplete, so feel free to chime in. I'd love to, and I'll keep the chat open right now. I got it shut. There we go. So I've got a rite of passage is kind of a ritual that marks the transition of one phase of life to another. And the only two super, super, super universal ones are like birth and death. And, like we're all going to go through that, sadly, except some of the tech bros, they think they're getting they're going to beat death. Maybe they have a like cryogenic rite of passage set. But anyway, let's talk about that later. Um, but however, birth and death are two things that we're actually not really there for. But we'll talk about that. But some secondary ones, there's a lot of throughout the globe, there's a lot of puberty, adulthood, rites of passage. There are a lot of quinceañeras and things like that, weddings, maybe leaving home, things like that. Great. People are already putting things into the chat. Graduation. Somehow I forgot this in the whole slideshow. So here's some other ones. Oh, wait. Sorry. I want to talk about, just give you some examples. So this is from Kampong Boy. This is one of the few uh, I was born, and this was the rite of passage I went through when I was born. Examples I could come up with it in comics, and it's really low res, I'm afraid. But on the 45th day of Lat's life, he was allowed to come outside. So they kept him inside the village hut for a long time. And then they shaved his hair and brought him out. The first part of the ceremony was, of course, the shaving. Grandma did it. And I was carried bald and naked um, to where there were more than a dozen well-wishers, and she was given a bath. And then they swung little Lat in, they dressed him in the finest clothing and put him in a hammock, which he'd never been in before. And they began singing a song. And that's sort of the sort of birth ritual, or at least the welcoming into the world um, ritual that Lat sort of depicts. I did come up with a sort of a death rite of passage from the photographer, which anyone who read my memoir book knows that is a favorite memoir of mine. This artist isn't the person drawing it isn't the person going through this experience, but he's a photographer, and he's out in the mountains of Afghanistan. He's alone. He's in the snow. It's he doesn't think he's going to survive. He went out alone like an idiot. And he says, I take out one of my cameras. I choose a 20 millimeter lens, a very wide angle, and I shoot from the ground to let people know where I died. And this next image is this giant, it's like this big in the book. It's like 9 by 12 or something. No, it's bigger. Yeah, it's about 9 by 12. Anyway. And that's one of the few examples I could think of a person pretty sure they're going to die. And so in some way rendering it. It's not a drawing, and we're going to talk about drawing in a minute, but it's a photograph, which was his medium of choice. And if there are any other examples of people that can think of like a near-death experience that was rendered in comics, I'm thinking Coma might have included that, but I'm not sure. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear that in the chat. I love that the chat is going kind of wild too. So I thought about some other ones, like if you're in a particular skill set, or you're going through a particular uh, set of initiations, or you're just getting better at something that has a formal structure to it. Um, Thank you, Michael. Uh, there are rituals associated with that. So like a rank in a martial art, for instance, is a great example. Oh, look, white coat ceremony, engineers ring ceremonies. I'm not even familiar with that. That's awesome. A publication is something we celebrate here at SAW lately. And I'm actually one reason for doing this workshop is I'm trying to get better at these kinds of things. I want to celebrate these things more. Military rank is one, a religious order, the way you go into that or initiated into that. Something made in an apprenticed craft like metalsmithing or pottery, an awards ceremony. Um, Carol, is there a death sequence in The Next Day by John Porcellino? Let us know. I see that you posted that in the chat. Recitals and performances. Anyway, this example is from Tilly Walden. I want to draw attention to this image because there's a lot of drawing in it, but I'm actually more interested in this next image from Tilly Walden, which is this. And we'll start to get into what I'm hoping we'll do in the workshop in a moment. Um, and so this is Tilly depicting one of the moves in figure skating, which she got really good at in the first, like, 16 years of her life or something like that. Um, and this picture has is almost it is diagrammatic. In fact, it's diagrammatic in the way that it is showing how those moves work inside the body and what she's thinking about, perhaps. It's quite a complicated and well thought out drawing. Um, so I'm posting that, but I'm also saying I couldn't find any example of a martial arts graphic memoir. If anyone knows any, I think we need it. I think we need a pottery graphic memoir. I've never seen one. I think we need a metalsmithing graphic memoir. I think we need a religious order graphic memoir. So if anybody's got one in the um in the hopper, like, let's see it. But anyway, all right. And again, the chat is great. Thank you. So there's some others. These are difficult passages that a lot of people go through, and I think these are going to be familiar to us. The loss of a parent or guardian, the loss of a pet, a major illness or a hospitalization, expulsion or flight from society. We've seen stories like this at SAW, and that's sort of my point is that, like, these are rites of passage in ways. They're not um, when we tell these stories, we don't need to be original when we do it. We just need to go through it. Um, anyway, we'll talk more about that. So this one on the right is Roz Chast. And I think this is actually, I think Roz Chast's book about her parents, even though she wasn't the first to do a book about aging parents, I think Special Exits by Joyce Farmer might be early, is certainly earlier, might be one of the first, and there might be others too. You could count Art Spiegelman's Mouse to some degree. But her depiction of her mother on her deathbed are really sensitive, and those really observed drawings. And I think this drawing of Harry Bliss's dog, which is a new book that just came out this spring about his dog, is another really observed and careful drawing by a person who normally is. Both of these are New Yorker cartoonists, and both of these people are silly most of the time. Harry Bliss is maybe a little less so. Ross Chast is off the wall silly, and Harry Bliss is a humorist. But they both took the time to sort of render these to depict part of what they were going through. I think that's an important part of what we're going to try and do tonight, if I keep my eye on the clock correctly. All right, what's next? Another one, major illnesses. This is from Georgia Weber's Dumb. This is she was very, very sick. But this is the first time she renders it in a double page spread, and she puts all of these, like, sort of like pain markings or something underneath. It's a different kind of sensitivity than these drawings, which are very observed. This is a little more symbolic, but she's still putting a lot of attention into that drawing. Um, it took probably a long time to draw all those stars. She was trying to render, but also sort of like commune with that experience of being as sick as she was. What else do we have? I thought of some silly ones. I'd love to hear some silly ones if there haven't been any in the chat. And I don't think first therapy appointment is silly, but it's less of the silly ones. It's less formal, is what I say here. Maybe a new home, and I saw that something like that in the chat. I've been having a lot of conversations with adults who are like, I finally got my ADHD diagnosis, and it's happened so often lately, at least in my friends, that I feel like that's a new rite of passage for the 21st century. And so I think I'd like to see somebody uh first dinner after a lockdown. Love it. Getting heartbroken. These are all great. Kid uses potty. Yeah. Oh, who is it that does such great stories about that? I can't remember. My other brain is working right now. A friend of mine a long time ago said when I saw my first Bruce Lee movie, it was like a transformative experience. And and I'd love to hear other things like that. Oh, cool. Sean says my first bowling league after COVID. Yeah. I'd love to hear yeah. Anyway, my friend who with the Bruce Lee. So if anyone's got other examples, Rocky Horror when you're 15, that's actually a great example. First psychotic ex episode, not informal but intense. Whoa, first time eating whale meat. Is that uh, first time ghosted by a friend? All right, cool. So people are going through it. Um, Let's see what else is in this. So this is what our workshop's going to look like. We're going to do a quick brainstorm of some rites of passage that we went through. That's going to be 2 minutes. We're going to do a little bit of a guided writing for 4 minutes. And what we're going to talk about is these things here. And then we're going to do a 4 panel comic, but I want you to take a note. It's 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, and 4 minutes. And the reason is that third panel is the panel where we are going to spend a little extra time drawing and also finding a little research if we need to. It might be that we need to go on our own phone or our Google Drive or whatever and find a reference photo, um, or maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's actually printed out, or maybe we just need a little extra time to sort of remember it. And we're going to spend 10 minutes on that third drawing, which is going to hopefully be a little more observed, a little more thoughtful, and something that we really sink into a little bit more like some of these drawings that we saw. Um, that's what that third panel will be. Um, Not much is that. There'll be a regular fourth panel, and I'll describe those in a minute. So, are we ready for that? You know what? I have all of this in the chat. I mean, I have all this written down. So I'm going to start a timer in a second, but I'm also going to um, open up my um, my tablet, and I'll start the timer in 1 second. See if that works. Okay, I'll start the timer now. So, in other words, let's spend 2 minutes. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to put in the chat what we're doing. We're going to do 2 minutes of brainstorming some rites of passage that we went through. And obviously, we're going to choose one of these to draw. So, this 2 minutes is starting now. I've got the timer app. I'm going to spotlight myself. Um, got the timer app running. And you can spend a minute or two doing that. And again, I've got the
Tom, somebody's asking to see that time breakdown again.
I'll get to that in a minute because I'm going to show it again, if that's okay with everybody. Let's just spend the 2 minutes doing that. Um,
Recording in progress.
All right, looks like we're at 30 seconds. Yay. Love that. Um, great. We only need my screen for a second, but I'll share it again and I'll show you what the next thing is. Um, Here we go. So the next thing, and I'm gonna stop sharing in a moment. Oh no, I'll keep this up. The next thing we're gonna do is 4 minutes of writing. And I'd like you to use these prompts if you can. You know, you can obviously you can do whatever you want as well. But I think these are good prompts that'll help us in the comic. So the four prompts are it was, meaning what was the event? It was the day of my quinceanera, you know, it was the day of my birth, whatever. And I was blah, 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 you know. And then all around me was, that's the second prompt. I'd like you to describe the setting. Who were the people? What was around you? What was the decor? Was it festive? Was it ordinary? Um, what was the weather like? Things like that. And then the third prompt is to describe the event. What happened when whatever that event was, how did it go down? And the fourth thing, so I'd like you to fit all this into the 4 minutes, is and after I dot dot dot, meaning describe how you felt different if you did. Describe how you didn't feel different. Describe how things were changed. Here's one that's not on the screen, but describe how you were viewed differently if you were. So I'm going to keep that on the screen. Oh yeah, you know what though? I can do that and the timer. Hang on a second. Great. And so we'll have 4 minutes to do this writing. And that should be on my screen and this as well. Is that right, Michael? You can see my the guided workshop and the timer.
Yeah, I can see it in my upper right corner. I'm not seeing it over your, no, no. Well, it's because your raised hand is obscuring it, but
Okay.
I can see
Well,
it also
hopefully.
on the upper right corner of my screen.
All right. So that's what it was. Let's do that for 4 minutes and try and get those prompts in. So a minute 30 left on the writing. I just looked at my other screen and you're right. The hand is like right over the clock. Somebody's not thinking. So I'm going to lower my hand and stay spotlit. All right. I'd love to hear what you're writing in the chat, but we're gonna start drawing. Um, also, I'm also gonna put what we just did in the chat for Christian and anybody else who missed it. Um, Give me a second. Get my first tattoo. Um, okay, let's go back to the screen. So, yeah, what time are we at? Sorry, give me 1 second. 7:30. Great. Um, so we're gonna try and make a 4 panel comic out of this. If you want to make it 5 panels, that's fine. If you want to change it up to make it, do whatever you like. But there's that one thought of that one panel I would like you to do relatively silently, and we'll talk about it in a second. Let me close down the chat for a second. Let me close down the timer. Sorry, when you keep adding these Zoom apps, it gets all crazy on your own screen. Why can I not go to the next screen? There we go. So so we're going to set up 4 panels. Feel free to set it up however you want, but I want to ask you to consider to give one panel a little bit more weight. That panel will be the one where we do a lot of drawing. But you don't have to. So it could look like this grid on the left. It could look like something like this on the right. Um, it could look something like that, where that third panel is really big and it's kind of there, or it can be whatever your choice is, or you don't even need panels at all. Um, I am going to give you 4 prompts that are basically the same prompts that I gave you in writing. And I'm also going to draw with you. And I'm going to cheat because I'm not telling an autobiographical one. I feel like I've done some of those. Some of you who are in some of the programs know I'm doing a story about a goat lately. So I'm going to tell a fictional story about a goat, but it actually, in writing it, has a lot to do with some other things that have actually happened in my life. But I'm going to draw that. So panel one for 4 minutes is that what was the event? It was this, it was that. Let's spend 4 minutes doing that. Um, and like I said, I'm going to draw. So I'm going to I'm going to make my other self co-host. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put this in the chat. So we're going to take 4 minutes to draw panel one. And meanwhile, I'm going to try and share my screen and see if we can do this quickly. Sharing? Oh yeah, look at that. And let's change that timer. And we've got a new timer, 4 minutes. And always so tricky, right? Here we go. Okay. I'm going without panel borders because it's too much to think about. And remember, there's not a lot of time if we're going to get all this in. Although we could go to 5 minutes. I think we'll do 5 minutes per panel. So I'm going to change it to 1 more minute once it, yeah, I feel good about that. Fun and games over here. I'm doing a comic about a dying goat. Sorry if anyone came for fun. And hopefully some people are doing fun. I'd love to see some really silly ones too. Um, my goat is looking like Snoopy these days. All right. So there's 2 minutes left. I do hope there's some silly ones. It's about 45 seconds on this first panel. God, this is so sad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. I hope some fun ones in the chat are being done. The first time hiking Mount Washington, point shoes, chopping wood. There we go. First focus. Oh, there's so many good things in here that aren't. First hangover. There you go. Yeah. Um, well, the hair helps. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Um, so 40. Oh. All right. We're gonna do 5 minutes on panel two, and I'm gonna put it in the chat if you missed it. It is oh, nice, Linda. That's great. Good. I think we have some positivity happening. So panel two, I'm going to change the timer in a moment, is that second panel, which is the setting. All around me was blank. You don't have to use those words, but it's a good start. Um, and I'm going to use something like that. And you're describing the setting. If there are people, if it was festive or dire or impossible to remember, whatever, you can write that down. And don't forget the third panel is the one we're going to take a little bit longer and try and draw, um, and try and sort of experience that passage again in some way through our drawing, for sheer sobriety. That's great. Okay, I'm gonna put uh, change a new timer. It's on my face. And we have, oh wait, no, we're gonna make it 5 minutes. There we go. And we're starting panel 2. Cool. Thanks everybody for doing this. I'm gonna shrink this a little. No idea what I'm drawing. Making this up. 1 minute 40 in panel 2. 15 seconds. Um, all right. So we're going to go to the third panel. This is the panel to spend some time with, and it doesn't have to be good. And I'm putting that in the chat. Here's what I wrote. Draw the event with as much attention as you can. Use this time to find a reference if you need it. So there's a little time baked in if you need to find a reference online or in person or something. It doesn't have to be a good drawing, but just spend some time observing it. Me, since I'm fictionalizing it, because I'm not a good team player. I'm gonna find a picture of a goat that I can work with, um, that is lying down, and I'm gonna draw that. This clearly these other things have been made up and not very rigorously. Um, So I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes, and this is that third panel where we're just going to give it some attention visually as people who draw, not as people who draw well, just as people who use our eyes and our hands to sort of create a sort of circuit where things happen. So I'm going to stop the timer. I'm going to set a new timer, and 10 minutes. We'll hear that crazy music when it's done. And like I said, I'm going to go into Jason, if you're confused, I think I can hang on a second. I'm going to add, I think we can see three screens. So panel one was this, Jason. It was what was the event. Panel two was all around me was, this was the setting. We described it, perhaps maybe we drew it. Panel three, I'm writing, draw the event as much attention as you can. Use this time to find a reference. If it doesn't have to be a good drawing, just observed. Whatever that thing was it the first time you did mushrooms? Then draw the heck out of that. Was it was it the first time you moved into a new house? See if you can find a picture of an empty room or that room or and draw it and or any number of other things. Hopefully that makes sense with some sense. I'm going to stop that sharing. Does that help, Jason? Okay, I'm going to spend a minute and great. And I'm going to write down again in the chat, and then I'm going to spend a time finding a goat. um, oh, There's 4 minutes left. Hopefully some of you are having a better time than I am. I I just went dark, that's all. Um, so hopefully we're getting some festive ones. You can use words here. You probably wrote some. So I've taken, then there's 3 minutes left. I've taken some time to draw this. Um, about a minute left. Um, Again, doesn't have to be a good drawing, but hopefully you give it a little bit more attention than the 5 minute drawings. And that's enough. It really is all about attention. And again, I hope not everybody did something as grim as I did. I just can't believe I'm just like, oh, this will be fun. Oh, such a right. He, he just is using too many words. Well, whatever. Um, I'm using lowercase and uppercase. It's just crazy. And again, all right. So panel four, this will be our last panel. We'll do 5 minutes, and I'm putting it in the chat. And Nikki. So panel four, as I said previously, although I'll share my screen really fast too. I'll show you that fourth panel. I think you can see it. So this is the and I afterwards panel. So maybe you describe how you felt or how you were seen differently or how nothing changed. Anything that is sort of a little bit of what happened after is sort of what we're looking for here. So that is, let's set the timer. Um, Set it for 5. And here we go. So that fourth panel is afterwards. And hopefully we've done some writing about that already. And then I'm going to raise my hand in a minute in case people start sharing soon, but I'll tell you what the timer says. Okay. Shrink it just a hair. I'm going to steal one of my own drawings for this really fast, y'all. Well, for the underdrawing. Let's see if I can find it. There. 'It didn't paste. Or not. Oh, I guess I got to draw it. Like 1 minute 34. I'm going to raise my hand again. Tell Zoom not to let it go. Oops. Um, Nice. Somebody did the first time they fell off a horse. We'll see if we can, let's see, we've got 8 seconds left. So we'll just dive right into the sharing. If people want to share, raise your Zoom game. If you don't, if you're not ready to do that, we'll do this for about 30 minutes, some sharing. So feel free to keep working. I'm gonna save mine, share. I'm gonna put it on my Dropbox and then upload it to the PDF. Um, oops. Oh shucks. Sorry, wasting everybody's time. Goat. Um, great. And now I can stop sharing. Um, I think, right? How do I do this? So complicated. And then I can leave. Um, Great. We've got some people who want to share. This was fun. And I'm really sorry to be such a downer. My gosh, I can't believe you let me all do that. Thanks, Michael. All right, I'm going to turn off the timer. Let's cancel that thing. I'm going to open the chat. I'm going to make sure. Great. We've got Nina, Gail, Libby, and then Bill, and we'll see some of what y'all did. Oh, wait, before we do that, I just want to grab the usual text, which usually I'm throwing in the chat pretty frequently. But I didn't because I've been busy. But I want to put the um, PDF and other sharing options in the chat right now. There we go. And I'll do that again. Let's go to Nina. Hi, Nina. And let me spotlight you. Nina, it's been so long. How are you? I'm glad
I'm
glad you're
good.
well. All right.
It's really good to be back here, Tom. Thank you. I've missed this. So I decided to do getting my first tattoo, which I did, and it was because my father, I think I wrote this. I went to get my first tattoo in Bellingham the year my father died. He had gotten 15 tattoos from age 83 to 85.
Whoa.
Yeah. Um, Studio Private Eye was funky, fun with a vintage vibe, and Jess was a work of art, the
Huh.
tattoo.
Uh-huh.
And then
Oh.
I picked one of my favorite meta images, Saul Steinberg's pen and ink of a hand drawing a hand. And then Jess said, this is a great first tattoo.
Oh, I don't know that image. That's great. Later, maybe post it in the chat. That's terrific. Wow. It's a hand
Wait,
drawing a hand.
let me see how can I do
Oh,
this? Wait,
oh, wait. Oh, the tattoo is the Steinberg. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Screenshot. Amazing. I
um,
didn't know that. That's amazing. I love
Yeah,
it.
it was from the book The Passport, which my parents both loved and gave me when I was a little kid, and was one of my absolute favorite books of drawings, all pen and ink line work. And then the last one, it didn't hurt at all, and I love seeing it. And I got 3 tattoos later on, and then this is the second skin covering the tattoo.
Wow. Awesome. Wow, Nina, thanks.
Thank you so much for this, Tom.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to throw in the chat because I want to see all these either on social media. I'd rather see them in the PDFs, everything. Anyway, post it again. Thanks. That's a great tattoo. I never knew you had that.
Yep, yep. And then the other arm is it's the morale of the story, which I drew. This is I
Nice.
do books, so it's a morale coming out of a book.
Wonderful. Wow.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, Nina. We'll go to Gail next. Here we go.
Hello. Um, okay, mine is very text heavy, which is probably why I was able to finish it quickly. Anyway.
Oh yeah, look at that.
When I was 13, I started preparing for my bat mitzvah. I was assigned a Torah portion, Lech Lecha. The cantor at my synagogue gave me tapes to study.
Mhm.
When a Torah portion is read out loud in front of a congregation, it is chanted somewhere between singing and speaking based on a system of annotation. So here's an example.
Oh, uh-huh.
Here's, here's a Hebrew word, hayat, or no, ye, hey, yeah, I'm not sure. And then the Hebrew, I was just copying this from an image I found online. Hebrew word with chanting symbols. I drew the chanting symbols in blue. So there's like an extra line there, and like a little L-shaped thing there.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was going to learn the chanting symbols. They seemed so secret and special to me.
But they didn't teach you this. Oh, look at that.
Andrew just gave me cassette tapes for me to listen to and mimic. This was just the first of many disappointments surrounding my bat mitzvah.
Oh, really? So there are more comics to come.
Yes, this was great. It gave me many ideas.
I love that cassette tape. That's such a beautiful little drawing of that. I'm glad you took extra time for that. Thanks,
Thank you.
Gail. All right. We'll go to Libby, then Bill, then Sarah. After Max, we're going to go to Jason. Here we go, Libby.
Hi there. I might need some help reading this, but I'll give it a whirl.
Okay. I can probably.
Celebration in the Inuit community I worked in that summer. Everyone was there, the elders and the kids and everyone in between. There was so much food to share, bannock and char. There was beluga whale meat being cut with ulus on a flattened out box on the floor. Everyone wanted me to try it. I did. It was very, very chewy. After the feast, I wrote to my mother about it. I was still chewing when I walked up to the post office to mail the letter.
Did you write the letter right after, like immediately
Right.
after?
Yeah. Yep, I really did. And I
That's
really was,
amazing.
it never dissolved. It was really odd, but a good experience.
That's a great detail, like going up to the post office with the meat in your mouth still. Wow.
Yep. Thanks.
Awesome, Libby. Thank you. We'll go to Bill next. Thanks, Libby. Let's see. Once Bill comes on screen, we'll go to Bill, then we'll go to Sarah, Eli, Max, then we're going to go to Jason. Misha is having a problem raising hand. So you need to go to react a lot of times where that heart is and click the heart, and then it usually pops up. If it doesn't, let me know. Bill, we'll spotlight you. There we go. Can't hear you, Bill. It's that usual thing, I think.
Okay, sorry, I forgot. I turned
Right in your hand.
off my mic when I went into the bathroom. Had to turn it on in two places. Sorry about that. First, I need hours, not minutes. I can't do minutes. The first time I did this, I did nothing because I felt so hopeless. This didn't totally suck. I wish I could forget my first kiss in senior high. I can remember some things about the last time I cried at school in sixth grade, but that didn't feel like it was over for another 4 years, and I really can't think of any rites of passage. Watching kittens and puppies be born at home was nice, but it didn't feel like passage.
Hmm.
The only thing I could think of was getting away from bullying in the local public schools, going several states away to finish high school. Nobody picked on me, but I had other reasons for being depressed, and I still struggled academically. But come graduation day, I was in cap and gown, and I cheered and clapped loudly for everybody. And then my name was called, and I just noticed how silent it all seemed. But there was one kid, I wish I could remember his name. He was Professor David Rice's middle school son. He smiled at me, shook my hand, and congratulated me. And I guess it was my first moment of being told all my life that I'm really good with children.
Oh, Bill, that's really
I
great.
just wish I
That's really
had some
sweet.
of my own, but I was always too poor to support a family, and I never wanted to get a woman in trouble. So I'm still waiting for marriage. And you could
Well,
make it up for me by telling me about that aircraft behind you. I'm guessing it's a DC-3. My
oh,
dad was a pilot. They mean a lot to me.
that I don't know, but it's a story. I'll put it in the chat. It's
Thank
Yoshihara
you.
Duge, but you can look up what kind of plane he was depicting there.
Sure,
I
that would
just
be
had
great.
I had somebody lined up, but their hand went down. If that person can come back, we'll go to them, but I don't know who it was. We're going to go to Eli next, and I'll see if I can figure out who that was. Hi, Eli.
Hi. Um, I guess it's important to know that at one time I was a lovely young lady and not a gentleman, because otherwise the story would make sense. In eighth grade, I fell in love with, for the first time, with a girl in the church guitar group. All around me were teens and guitars, and unfortunately, my mom, who was the church musician, and lots of Jesus and Catholic iconography. It's kind of hard to make your moves when your mom's right there. Um, my she became my girlfriend, which I skipped that part. And she convinced me to join the group of other eighth grade girls who were going to a weekend tour of a convent in Toledo, Ohio, to see if you were going to receive the calling to become a nun.
Wow.
It was about as fun as you might imagine a nun recruiting scheme would have been. I skipped the whole activities of the weekend, but it involved zero fun. Nuns have no fun. But the final night of the retreat, we did a ceremony where our wrists were zip tied and we were given a votive candle and sent into a small chapel to pray to have our sins taken away quickly. Um, when we felt free of sin, we were to process up to the altar where a very scary and stern nun with a gigantic pair of black scissors would cut you free of your zip ties, and then you would leave the candle on the altar free. And I guess they were trying to like, this is what's gonna be like if you're in the convent. It'll be awesome. Well, I unfortunately had a really bad headache from the really shitty, pardon me, the beanie weenie crap food that we had for lunch. I'm allergic to everything apparently, but I didn't know that as a kid.
Oh.
And I tried to control the pain, soothe the pain by holding the votive candle up to my forehead so that the warmth would relieve my headache. But my hands were zip tied, so it was complicated. But I did get it up onto my forehead, and I was like, oh, that feels so good.
Oh my gosh.
As you might imagine, my hair caught on fire.
I did not imagine. I wasn't sure.
But my hands were zip tied, and I had a candle in my hands. I didn't know what to do, and my hair was like, it was just like gone. But my beloved turned to me and gave me this look of like, I can't take you anywhere. Even in the eighth grade, it was already starting. Um, and then put the flames out as I looked lovingly into her dreamy eyes. And then we went home. And she joined the convent.
What?
She
What?
did. She's still a nun.
Oh,
Tragedy.
oh my gosh. All right.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was super fun.
Thanks, Eli. I'm going to put in the chat again ways in which we can see this again because I don't want that to disappear into the ether. Wow. There's so many levels to that story. Thanks. Okay, we'll go to Max next. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that. Is Max here? Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just got a call, but I'm gonna. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
I'll
see.
take the call.
It's photos and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and so I was saying in the chat when you were describing setting up the exercise, that basically all of the stuff I'm doing with Bastard Tale, which is a memoir comic series, sort of fits. Pardon me. Sort of fits the theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been mulling over which one I'm going to do next. And I've got like sort of loose notes. And one of them is about, it's going to kind of drift through part of my coming of age that mostly centers around like figuring out what my orientation and gender and stuff was too. So it's interesting following another one. Was it, sorry, is that, what was that? I forgot the name. The last.
Eli? Yeah.
Eli, right. It's sort of similar, very different story, but similar theme as Eli's. The actually no, not different. Anyway, not important. So this is like the first page of it. It's an opening sequence that goes into it that I thought actually fits the one pager and your constraints well, because it just sort of encapsulates my initial reaction. The first time I got to pick clothes going back to school in the 70s. And I was just very disappointed at how drab boys' clothes were in the 70s. But also intimidated because I was getting bullied a lot. And I wanted to be a lot more flamboyant and colorful, but I didn't want to call attention to myself. So it's just like talking about coming into the shop. I've got notes here. The blue notes are the initial pass. Do you want me to read them to you guys?
Well,
Real
are
quick.
they, are they? Yeah, they're corresponding to the panels.
Yeah, well, and so this is like the first pass. Your first was it 3 minutes we had or whatever.
Maybe just read us. Yeah, sure.
Picking my first clothes at a shop, noticing how brown and dull boys' clothes were in the 70s, thinking it was unfair we had so little to choose from, being happy to choose my own stuff, but also like disappointed with it too. And then I was getting into, when we expanded on that, just like the idea of there was a lot of things I wish that had been in the racks that I could see across the room in the much larger girl section for colors and patterns and stuff.
Definitely.
And then ultimately picked this very like jeans and corduroys, safe stuff that would make me blend into the background and not call too much attention. But the last panel here, this is that scene where I'm looking at the back across there versus being in the shop and seeing how small the Boyle section is. That's my mother. And here is like, but it if I felt free to choose and design my own safely, I'm here with like, this is kind of thinking Luke Skywalker and Man with No Name,
right?
Were two like cool dude outfits that I would love to have flamboyantly pulled off. And then also I had a puppet. I was a Muppet fan, and I had one of the puppets that hugs you, like it's got straps that Velcro around your neck and waist. And I loved playing with it. I took it to school once and just like never again. Mass public harassment and humiliation, but it had that. I would have wore it full time had it not gone so badly. But this is going to go on into like exploring all sorts of different stuff with like where I ended up going with all of that in life. So just kind of kicking off. It's not the whole story.
Cool. Yeah, that's really wild. I just realized, Max, I know you by Sam. You're Salgood Sam.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Thanks.
And let's stay in touch and
talk
more. And to see more of that. Super cool.
And
Sam's kind of
eventually these were photos I pulled out that are just roughly what I look like in around the time. So
look, that amazing collar on that big one. Yes.
And this is like, it fits the theme because that wasn't my choice, that shirt. Like what was it say again? Little rascal or something like that. And it's a dumb clown. It was like the photo booth guy was like, here, put this on. So
awesome. Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch. All right. I said we'd go to Jason next because Jason was trying to do get his hand raised, and then we'll go to Michael after that.
Right.
Here we go. Oh wait, Jason, I don't think I asked you to unmute. Hang on a second. Sorry, I messed up. There, you can unmute.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So, I was only confused about that third panel thing because I'd already done, my list. I had a bunch of different ones, including Vision Quest from Native American Rites of Passage. And I started to write that one out, but then I decided, I saw somebody else posted in there, Birth of First Child, which I thought was pretty significant. And I forgot that was like such a rites of passage. So I did that one. Here's the way it came out.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so we got, my son's name is Orion, the birth of Orion. And I'm like, why is he a conehead? Is he actually okay? When he first came out. And then you had you have to go to the top here. You have the surroundings, right? There's a midwife, there's grandma,
wow,
wife's mom, and then a phone on the wall and a steak dinner sitting there waiting for me. And it's 11:11. And then I'm not sure about how much detail you wanted, but don't draw it, draw it, whatever, just draw it. Doesn't have to be great, right?
No, it's great.
So overhanging bar, she's got her arms up over it and she's like pushing, and the midwife says, okay, stop, take a breather. You can take a rest. She goes, no, I think I'm going to keep going. I can feel him. So she just goes, and he was born pretty quick. But I have one leg, grandma had one leg, and it was a momentous event at 11:11. Good timing. And then, so the afterwards, how did I feel? Get there. Where the heck's the camera?
Yeah, it's back.
I'm so challenged here. Let's see.
Hey, you got it.
Well, so I cut the umbilical cord. I thought that was great. I got to do that. And I washed his head and his hair. And then first thing I did, and I had the intention of doing, is I called my mom. And when she said hello, I said, thank you. I understand now. She said, what? What are you talking about? I said, you're a grandma now. I understand now. And then as my wife crashed out to get some rest, they handed me the baby, Orion, and I sat and held him and rocked in the rocking chair. You know, what was creepy is I fell asleep and I woke up like an hour later or something, and he was still right there in my arms and I hadn't let go.
Oh, amazing. Jason, what a great comic. That third panel was lovely. And you know what? I rarely see you draw on paper. Your iPad comics are awesome. We love those. There's something really delicate in that paper comic. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, I figured I might as well use it. I've got this for other little ones too. Thank you for whoever had that idea.
Yeah, well, that was me. Well, no, I don't know. Oh, you mean in the chat.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Jason.
Thank
And
you.
Michael Green is here. Michael, oh, I lost him though. Oh no. I think he also let's see. Here we go. Wait, where'd he go?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see you.
Hmm.
Hang on a second. Where did you go? I don't know why I lost track of you. Are you there?
I'm here. I see me.
Oh, there you are. I don't know what happened. I didn't have the spotlight option for some reason. There you are. Michael, you were one of the inspirations for this. I'll talk to you about it. But everyone, Michael is part of graphic medicine. I'm really happy to have you here. But thinking about graphic medicine and also thinking about your memoir led me to some of these ideas.
Well, I'm flattered. Well,
See what
thank you.
happened.
So I'm a physician, so there's a medical story. Let's see if I can. So this was the time I became a real doctor, on call for the first time since graduating medical school, and here I am in my new white coat with scrubs and pockets full of stuff. There's one call after another, no chance of getting any sleep. Try some Ativan. Oops, out of focus. That should calm her down. Then the nurse called to say I needed to come right away. The patient in room 303 was threatening to leave AMA, or against medical advice.
Oh.
He was on chemotherapy for cancer and really sick. And she was like, had an IV pole and medicine, a glass bottle full of medicine. She was literally swinging it around her head while it was attached to her arm. This was very dangerous and frightening.
Oh my.
I talked her down, but not very eloquently, and I really didn't know what to do. But it really got me thinking about how scary it was to be a patient, and it's me thinking, I'm not sure I helped.
Wow. 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 That's great. That third panel is crazy.
It was crazy.
I now love the use of yellow, which you use in every panel, and it sort of symbolizes something different in every one. Using markers?
Watercolor.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Thanks.
Thank you.
And that was that was right at the beginning of your I'm now an official doctor.
That was literally the first night I was on call
Oh my
after
God.
becoming a doctor.
Amazing.
It's quite a rite of passage.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. This is great. And I hope you'll take a moment and upload that to our PDF, which is in the chat right now. Awesome. Thanks. Christian, are you there? Yes.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right. You got something for us. And then
Yeah.
we'll go Nikki and then Misha and then Michaela. Here we go. What'd you do?
Cool. So it was rain. Like what was our prompt again? Our prompt was basically what event helped change you?
Yeah, it looks like you did a birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Right on. What's
Dame Buster.
What's happening in panel 2?
Arcade.
Oh, okay. In panel 3?
Tickets. I use my tickets for
Oh, nice. And
and
panel
and then we just calm. Me and my friend just do calm things.
calm things?
Like we were calm. We were happy there.
Nice, nice. I like that. And it is a special moment when you cash in those tickets, that's like really this key moment. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go to Nikki next. If Nikki's next, then Misha and Michaela. We're going a little long. I wouldn't allow this for other teachers, but I'm happy to do it for you. Okay. Nikki, hi.
Hi. Hey, Tom. I always love your classes. They're
Oh, thanks.
so they're so cool.
You and I
Anyway,
are
this is
bonded
hey,
for life with the same last name.
I know, you're my brother from another mother. There we go. Um, this is mine, and hey, I've got graphically challenged as well. It was my first day at school. Hey, I've got to tell you about that table. My dad is such a genius. He built the house. He built an A-frame, and he didn't want to have to sweep under the table, so he did a table with no legs. That I mean, there were chains at this end that went right up to the ceiling, and you could actually flip the table up against the wall and put it down when you needed it. No problem to sweep under because it had no legs. So clever man. It was my first day at school. Dad had cut my fringe. It was a bit wonky. Mum made me a new dress. It was short, made of bright green cotton and white polka dots. I had a new backpack, not a hand-me-down, new, just for me. Inside was my lunch, fairy bread, wrapped up in grease-proof paper. Mum had even cut the crust off, just for me. And for those that aren't familiar with fairy bread, it's an Aussie and Kiwi thing. And we have ours on white sandwich bread with the crust cut off and 100,000 sprinkled all over the top. And it's, oh, and buttered, has to be buttered. And it's pretty yucky, but it was always a special comfort celebration food. God knows why. It looked pretty. But anyway, here's my panel 3. My brother and I lined up outside for the obligatory photograph. Bonzo the dog was also a necessary participant. Click. And Dad had his own, he developed his own photographs, so he was always taking lots of photographs and then going into his dark room.
Wow.
Let me see if I can read this. Afterwards, we drove in style to school. My dad's only vehicle at the time was a beat-up, ancient, short-wheel-based Land Rover, and I remember the metal seats felt so cold against my legs, and I was full of nervous anticipation. So thank you. I really
Oh,
enjoyed
nice. Thanks, Nikki. Is that third image? Were you working from the actual photo?
that. No, I can actually see very clearly the photograph that Dad took inside my head.
Oh, wow.
So
Awesome.
I've got I tend to see things visually, not in words, so I can remember very clearly the actual photo.
Wonderful.
And yeah. And I had
Thanks.
blonde hair back then. That was before my hair
What?
darkened.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Oh, great. Thanks, Nikki. And I hope you'll upload that. I hope everybody will. Well, if Misha is available, we'll go to Misha, then Michaela, then Linda. But I think I need, oh, I just muted them accidentally. Hang on a second.
Whoops. I think we just did it at the same time.
Are you?
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me video it.
There we go.
Oh, So
I might have to
cut my background on.
Yeah. That happens.
Background effects, none. Okay.
There we go.
So I started inking it. So day of my wedding, I show up and my husband hadn't showed up because he was driving his parents there. It was overcast. I show up I'm feeling like pre-Cinderella and post-Cinderella at the same time because I wanted everything to be very low-key and chill, and so my whole outfit was very low-key and chill, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a very chill bride. I want to like help everyone out, and but nobody really wanted my help.
Right.
Wait, wrong way. And the previous night, I was on Adderall. Me and my husband and his brother were all on Adderall because we were kind of like coming off of the fact that my friend had broken her leg in the hotel room while we were partying in there. It's like the bachelor slash et party. And this is me sitting there while the EMTs come and they're getting stuff out of their like medical bag.
Oh no.
And I'm not showing this because like the bone was like almost popping out. Oh. And this is all of the uninked text. There's my ex-stepdad from the Universal Life Church doing the officiating, and we were both incredibly awkward in the photos, especially this had photo reference. I kept biting my lip, and we both look miserable, but we're not. And then after that, it was merriment and cavorting, and that's me on the chair getting lifted.
Oh,
And I was
nice.
terrified. And this is our wedding cake. It says, obey, consume, marry, and reproduce. So everything was very to my liking. The bouquets were inside of cabbages. Um, then after that, like the younger people of the wedding packed six to a sedan, went to a furry party, and I didn't fit that in. But I was there with some other extra sheet cake that had manifested out of somewhere, and was trying to give away this cake and had the whole like wedding dress and the veil on and everything, but nobody seemed to comment on that fact. So yeah, it was very successfully low key.
Lots of wonderful details in that. That's fantastic. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Awesome. Um, okay, again, and I hope everybody will share elsewhere as well. Michaela will go to next.
Hi, Tom, can I share?
Yeah, I think I have to change the setting. Hang on a second. Um, yes.
So I think you can see my screen now.
Mm-hmm.
So the milestones or rites of passage, I was of a sense that I missed more of them than I did the things, but I missed the celebrations. And so this is one example. I got my diploma in the mail, and it says the Evergreen State College, my name, Bachelor of Arts, signed, and the Evergreen logo, which I'm very proud of. But I missed my bachelor's graduation ceremony. It's not the only rite of passage I missed. I was so busy moving, working, revising, paying student loans. Only much later, my transformation became evident. And that's me drawn as the high priestess tarot card. It looks a little like, if you Google it, it's a little bit different, but I got all the elements in there. I did it, but I learned you got to celebrate yourself. Don't wait for somebody to throw a surprise party.
Oh, I like that. I love the High Priestess
Here, wait,
rendition.
I can just Google really quickly what she looks like. High priestess. Just like a standard, representation, and it's a little too, I don't know, oh, now it's gone. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, you can see her here, like,
Mm-hmm.
can you see? I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
click on it because it'll probably go away again, but
I
so
love
I
that.
decided to just do a more modern, updated version of that. That's that. This is fun to draw. I would like to retrace that with a thick pen, before, and then I'll upload it. But thanks for this. A great session, Tom.
Sure, Michaela. Thank you. Was that Evergreen in Olympia?
Yeah,
Oh, awesome. Great school.
yeah, great school, definitely.
Okay, we'll go to Nazanin now, if Nazanine's ready. And then we'll go to Edgar, Sophia, and then we'll finish with Michael. Are you there? Yeah, you're there. Nazanin?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. Sorry, I have to share my screen.
You can do that.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Mhm. There we go.
So I did a little mistake here, and you will see the little mistake here. It was the day that I realized I can draw, and not just like draw. I realized that, wow, I can really draw the lines and the character and stuff like that. And all around me was so many papers. Wait. My aunt was over as a guest, and first I showed her my drawings, and she really was proud. She's one of the people that really supported me in this art career that I have right now. And after that, I never stopped drawing. And
Wow.
this is the feeling. I couldn't like show the feeling right how I wanted, but this was the kind of feeling that I had back then when I was like, wow, I really made this drawing. And I think I was 10 or 11 years old.
Awesome. It's so celebratory. That last panel is terrific. Hooray. That's a great rite of passage. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
great. I loved it.
cool. Thanks, Nazanin. Okay, we will go to Edgar. Oops, got to spotlight you, Edgar.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, thank you very much for the inspiration. I started writing a couple of different rites of passages, but I ended up with one that means a lot to me. And let's see, oh, there we go. It's
Yep.
my first community theater gig. You have to understand that I was not a theater kid. I did no acting in high school or college. So why did I try out for a part in a Turkish American theater company in Izmir, where I was stationed in a NATO assignment in 1998 at the age of 43? And there's a director, Fred. Okay, Edgar, will you read for Father Drobny now? He's a priest who's taken refuge in the American embassy, and he's a terrible musician. The play was Woody Allen's Don't Drink the Water, and the director cast me as Father Drobny. The cast thought I had years of experience and were dumbfounded after 2 weeks when we introduced ourselves, and I said this was my first part. And I actually offered advice to my fellow actors, making suggestions for the set, and with the director's permission, choreographing the chase around the table, giving each actor the precise motivation for following others. And here's an unhappy, experienced actor playing the ambassador. And I say the line this way and you'll get a laugh. And when she would do it during rehearsal, she would get a laugh, but she was determined to do it her way, and she got no laugh during the run of the play. There's an inexperienced actor playing the middle-aged tourist, Walter, and I'm saying, give the audience time to react to what I say before you say your line. I'm trying. Well, he could never succeed, but he had a forceful personality. And here I am watching the young lovers, the actor playing the ambassador's son, and the girl playing the tourist's daughter. No, no, you're not raping her. You two are fumbling in love together. And I had to show them how to fall to the couch in a innocent love. And I was always right, but I have no training. How did I know? Father Drobny is both funny and serious. At the end of the play, as he blesses the young lovers, he turns to the audience and holds his cards up and says, "What will you choose for your life? Pick a card, any card," as the cast freezes. And the result was the director offered me the chance to direct the next play, and it changed my life.
Wow. Wow. How how did it change your life? Clearly, you did a lot more theater.
What it did was it kind of coalesced that I have an ability to do things, most of which I have no training for, but somehow I'm able to do them. Now, I have had some art training and a little bit of writing, but mostly the stuff I do, I have no theater knowledge. How did I know how to tell them how to read a line? How did I tell them how to fall to the couch to show that they are young, inexperienced lovers fumbling and not raping each other? So I don't know how I knew that, but on the basis of the one part I had, they offered me the chance to direct, and I have directed other shows since then.
Amazing.
So I
good.
don't know why, but I have a knack.
Okay, just don't practice medicine or anything like that without
No, I won't. I only play one on television. No, I don't. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Edgar. Okay, we'll
You
go
bet.
to Sophia next if Sophia's there, and then we'll finish up with Michael. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, can you see me?
Hi, yep.
Okay, great. Cool. So I did a comic about taking care of my grandmother, The first panel, in 2019, my grandma started falling,
Oh.
and I moved in with her. It was the first time I had taken care of someone else. The second panel, I don't know if you'll be able to see it that well. We lived in her one-bedroom apartment in Co-op City where she'd lived since the 70s. All the furniture was the same as when she moved in.
Mm.
Here's green shag carpeting, velvet couch, floral wallpaper. Right. Here's a like drawing of my grandma.
Oh.
So I was gonna put myself in there too, but I didn't have time, unfortunately. But
Oh, that's
here's
nice.
like us going to the grocery store. We're
And
gonna
she's
go
saying,
buy some groceries, and she's saying, "You spend money like a sailor on shore leave,"
oh my
because I want to
gosh.
spend because I want to buy processed food, and she's like, "No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna buy this thing that's not on sale." Okay. Um, I messed up a lot, but I also worked hard. And
Oh.
I hope that she felt cared for. I didn't know I had it in me.
Huh.
And this is her gravestone actually does say one tough cookie on it.
How long was that experience from when you moved in to?
I it didn't actually wind up like it her health deteriorated really quickly, unfortunately. So I wound up living her with her for only maybe like 7 months or so.
Oh, that's really nice.
But I was like I'm very glad I was able to spend time with her before she passed away.
Thanks so much for that. That was lovely. She looked like a star in that first panel, the way you drew her with
Yeah,
the
I can
points.
see that.
Yeah, it's nice. Thanks so much. All right, we'll go and finish up with Michael here. Michael.
Well, Tom, you know I'm working on this big comic about my father's death, so I needed to do something light. I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be able to.
All right, my first real kiss. And I got much more into the writing than the drawing. I was 15 when my friend Chun, who lived on Staten Island, threw the first high school party I ever went to. I got a little drunk and blurted, "Hey, everybody, let's play Spin the Bottle." Chun, fashion major at High School of Art and Design. I myself had never played Spin the Bottle before. The previous summer, I watched from afar when the cool kids played it behind the bushes at camp, me at 15. There were a lot of groans and how childish protests as we quickly formed a circle in Chun's basement, found an empty wine bottle, and exchanged mostly awkward pecks on the lips. My prayers were answered when the bottle pointed to Heidi, the prettiest girl in Chun's basement, who promptly wedged her tongue in my mouth. Shocking, made my stomach swirly. I wasn't completely sure I even liked it. I also wanted it to last forever.
Whoa. That third panel is great. I assume you found some reference for that because it's
Yeah,
such
I
so
found a
clear.
photo that was set in the right time period, and that's where I
Oh, oh,
spend most of my
really?
time. Yeah.
In the right time period. That's great.
Yeah, like 1979-ish. Um, and where's where's the yeah, and this is actually what I looked like back then.
Oh my God. Such a star. Look at that. And
I
already
wouldn't
I can feel the brooding coming up.
Yeah, this isn't something I found recently. It was, I had an early start.
Thanks, Michael. And I want to say thanks to everybody. I appreciate y'all letting me do one of these now and then, and I just wanted to see what happened. Oh, for what it's worth, I'm also going to be at SPX, and I'm going to be moderating a panel about rites of passage. So this give me a little something to think about. I'm going to put the information about sharing again in the chat. I thought I had something else to say. Oh yeah, my book is coming out Tuesday. It's a reissue, and hopefully you'll look forward to pick it up. SPX is a festival, Nikki, in Washington, D.C. or outside of Washington, D.C., which will soon be under federal control. So who knows what the heck's going to happen. I am glad everybody's here. I'm going to ask you all to unmute, but not to give me a round of applause, but just to give everybody else, I don't know, just to say something and give everybody whatever.
You rock, Tom.
Tom, we love
Thanks.
you, Tom.
I really appreciate y'all. Next week we have
good time, Tom.
Oh,
Thank you.
Just mute everybody again, Tom, and then unmute them again.
Each of you
Right, I have to unmute
inspires
Thanks so
everybody.
much.
You evoked a memory I hadn't touched on for a long time.
Oh, that's great. I'm really glad.
Yeah,
Thanks everybody for
seriously.
doing this.
Good night,
Each of you
All right.
inspires the other.
Once in a while.
See you in the funny papers.
Yeah. Good night.